was that the metal was off-world.
An off-world metal implanted in humans? What could possibly account for this stunning conclusion?
What the scientists found is that these metal objects found inside these people were extraterrestrial in origin. They obviously came from outer space.
For UFO researchers, leading-edge scientific scrutiny finally offers physical proof that alien technology is being implanted into the bodies of UFO abductees. Daryl Sims, a leading expert on alien abduction, is approached by a woman named Patricia, who claims that she, too, had been the victim of an alien abduction.
Patricia told me about a remarkable experience with her family and herself involving a UFO and apparently missing time or contact, as some people would refer to it.
And she tells him about a UFO encounter that sounds all too familiar. She is camping with her husband and 2 kids along a river near Lake Conroe in Texas, when her husband anxiously wakes her in the middle of the night.
He said he woke me up and said, something down there in the river. And she says, but what are you talking about? There's some people down there. He said, no, they're not people. And it scared him really bad.
They pack and leave, but as they cross an old Civil War bridge on Lake Conroe, there is a huge light coming from the middle of the lake.
She said, well, I thought it was a semi. But what would a semi be doing in the middle of nowhere? None of it made sense. And the shocking thing about that, as it got closer and closer to her, my husband started getting scared and said, please don't hurt us, please don't hurt us, please don't take us, please don't. She mentions that after they went over the bridge, the next thing that she noticed is they're coming back.
Patricia and her family have just experienced the classic abduction telltale sign of missing time. And when they get back to their campground, their raging campfire has radically burnt down.
I think in lost time, what's probably happening is some type of medication is administered, or maybe even some type of a specific frequency is put on the brain that causes you to black out for a specific amount of time, totally erasing any knowledge of where you have been. I mean, a lot of people who get drunk, sometimes they say they don't remember what happened the night before, and that's just alcohol. Imagine a more advanced society with some type of advanced technology that can literally wipe your memory or just knock you out to the point where you have no recollection of what actually happened.
In an exclusive first-hand account, Daryl Sims shares what he's been doing to bring these stories to the public.
Patricia had a splinter in her foot, and her doctor said, well, let's just take an x-ray, just make sure everything's okay. He took an x-ray and he came back puzzled. He said, when did you get the surgical clips in your feet? And she said, what are you talking about? What surgical clips? And he said, well, it looks like you've had an osteotomy. They put surgical clips in your feet. And she said, I've never had a surgery in my entire life.
To solve the mystery, Sims flies with Patricia to California to see a specialist.
Dr. Roger Lear was a podiatrist, a foot and ankle surgeon, who specialized in looking into claims that some of these alien abductees had been implanted with small devices of some kind.
After examining Patricia, Dr. Lear agrees to perform exploratory surgery. In short order, he locates and removes a foreign object from her foot.
That's it, that's it, that's it, that's it, that's it. I got it. That's it.
Surprisingly, he finds the hard object surrounded by a biological cocoon of tissue.
The biological tissue, yes, will eventually be removed, and then it'll be sent in for separate analysis. That's before we get to the metal.
Later that same day, Dr. Lear removes a second foreign object from another patient.
The people that Roger Lear dealt with were people who came to him because they had the strong feeling that they'd had an alien abduction experience.
Again, Dr. Lear finds a foreign object surrounded by a similar strange cocoon.
When you look at the objects on x-ray, all you see is metal objects inside the body, next to the bone. When we surgically opened these people up, we didn't see the metal at all. It was hidden inside these cocoons of each of these 2 people. So we took the objects to the pathologist, and to his shock and amazement, the cocoons were in fact cocooned of a material that he said was impossible to be inside the body. He said, this is a keratinous material. I said, what does that mean? He said, keratin is your fingernails, your surface skin, your hair. doesn't exist inside the body next to bone. So that's our first hint that, in fact, there may be something alien-related here.
Going deeper for answers, Dr. Lear turns to 𝗳𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗃, a chemist and materials scientist, to conduct further tests.
This is one of the implants at 10 times magnification after it was removed from the body before any dissection of the skin layer had been done. And you can see that dark area, that's the metallic core underneath.
For Coburn, the objects are clearly very strange.
There's no inflammation around the objects, and that's almost unheard of. And there's nerves growing into the devices, and that's very unusual.
According to Coburn, a connection between the object and the human nervous system indicates a sophisticated interface between the implant and its recipient. But that's not all. Once the metallic core is exposed to air, it soon turns reddish in color.
I decided to compare it to an actual meteorite. You can see from these pictures how similar they are in tone and color and general appearance. We found out that the metallic core was made of meteoric iron. That was one of the most unusual things about it and really stood out.
Could the implant really be made of iron from outer space? For Darrell Sims, Colburn's incredible analysis leads to an intriguing opportunity to double-check the results.
I was contacted by the National Institute for Discovery Science, and I went before 18 scientists.
Based in Las Vegas, Nevada, the National Institute for Discovery Science was a privately financed research group founded by Bob Bigelow of Bigelow Aerospace. And according to the New York Times breaking news on December 16, 2017, Bob Bigelow had been working with the Pentagon's secret UFO research project.
So Bob Bigelow had the object sent off to Los Alamos Labs. They found 11 different elements that did not belong on this particular metal. So I said, what's so unusual about the metal? Well, the metal is from a rare meteorite. Los Alamos was so stunned with the study, they shipped them off to New Mexico Tech for further evaluation. New Mexico Tech found some of the metal to be as hard as the hardest steel known to man, and other parts of the metal to be soft carbon and magnetic. What they found specifically in the metal object retrieved from these people was that the metal was off-world.
An off-world metal implanted in humans? What could possibly account for this stunning conclusion?
What the scientists found is that these metal objects found inside these people were extraterrestrial in origin. They obviously came from outer space.
For UFO researchers, leading-edge scientific scrutiny finally offers physical proof that alien technology is being implanted into the bodies of UFO abductees.
There have been a number of these that have been extracted from people. The real question to get into is why this happens. But UFO researchers believe that there is an alien implant phenomenon.
After receiving implant specimens from Dr. Lear, scientist Steve Coburn begins his groundbreaking analysis. Viewed with an electron microscope at nearly 75,000 times magnification, the results are nothing short of stunning.
The shot on the left is a shot of the metallic core of the object. The picture on the right is a little bit higher magnification shot of what looks like a carbon nanotube wire that might be one of the main connections to the device. That is a view of fibers that were found inside the object. They turned out to be carbon nanotubes.
Artificially engineered carbon nanotubes consist of a single atomic layer of carbon atoms rolled into a tube, measuring only 1/1000th of a meter in diameter. Thought of as beyond cutting-edge technology, carbon nanotubes provide for extreme electrical conductivity and super-efficient transmission of electrons. They can also boost energy storage by a factor of 10,000.
Nanotechnology is the science of building machines at the molecular level. We're only just beginning to experiment with this technology. If this is nanotechnology, and if these devices are turning up inside of people who claim to have had alien abduction experiences, what's going on?
Upon further investigation, what Steve Coburn finds shakes him to his core.
Something in the device acts as an antenna to allow it to broadcast radio waves. And any small object that is emitting radio signals has to be something that's a device rather than just an inert piece of material.
I think there's a very good case to be made that they're tracking devices. These objects do emit an RF frequency.
If ever there was hard evidence that these UFO encounters, these alien abduction claims are real, then it's the implants.
Could the evidence of alien implants really be undeniable proof that we are being visited by extraterrestrials? And might this also confirm that alien abduction is real?